Hey there everyone, how are you? Steve Gons here. I want to talk to you guys about how do you run faster, particularly when you are tired. So we've been talking a lot about what I'm going to kind of briefly go over about opening your stride so you can improve your run form. And the real key thing with this improvement of run form that I'm teaching is how do you run faster, and how do you run faster when you are tired. So end of runs, maybe you're running in a hot day or in the wind, or you're towards the end of a race and things are falling apart. How do you hold things together? And the way you do that is by, number one, opening your stride. So open, I'll write the whole thing out for the time being. Open your stride. And what you need to know about this is, make sure I'm in frame here because I've been known, yep, there we go. Not in frame again. So you open your stride. And why you do this is because it makes you run from your glutes, it makes you run from your core, and it stops you from running from your calves and your knees. And that's really what we want to be doing. We want to use these big muscle groups up top because that's how you're going to get faster. So real quick, how do you do this? I talked about it in previous videos. By the way, before I forget, if you haven't checked out Need for Speed, the price is going up on Friday. It's a 4-week boot camp where I'm going to teach all of these things and how do you open your stride. Plus there's a ton of free resources in our video section if you missed it. So when we talk about opening the stride, this is how most people run. I'm just going to draw it. I did a bunch of video analysis earlier. Imagine this is the front leg, this is the back leg. When most people push off, they don't travel anywhere because they're already touching down on the other side. Shufflers, scuffers, people who don't pick their feet up. This type of run form gets worse and actually comes on for some people when they get tired, when they get fatigued. So end of runs, during races, and for many reasons, this way causes you to slow down. But instead of that, we don't even care about the fact that that runner's overstriding. What we want our runners to do, and we want you to do, is to start finding what we call the figure 4 position. So as you're running, you almost have, let me fix this so it looks more like a 4. You have a nice carry through on the leg, you're driving from the knee. If you're wondering what this picture is, here's a belly, here's a butt, and here's some arms up here. I don't think that helped at all. But when you drive through the knee, that's when you open your stride. So there's a ton of videos that I talked about already on that. What I want to talk to you about is how do you use this? When you open your stride, so I'm just going to write open your stride. When you do this, it equals this. It equals speed. Here's the trouble though, and we run into trouble with a lot of runners with this, and maybe you've tried opening your stride. Maybe let me know in the comments if you've tried opening your stride already and seeing what happens. What you're going to find is that you almost automatically start running faster. The problem with this is that it's tiring, and sometimes you don't want to run faster. Like if you're out on the easier run, or you're out on the base run, or you're just out to clear your head like I'm about to do in about 5 seconds, right after this video, 5 seconds after this video. So how do you manage, how do you open your stride for more speed? When do you use it, and how do you do it so that you're not wasting energy? Because think about this, if you open your stride, you learn how to take that and get more float, carry more distance in every single, make sure I'm still in here, carry out more distance in every single step. Like if you're going to generate more speed, you're going to run faster, but you don't always want to run faster. So here's what I want you guys to take away. Again, if you want to take a look at this whole program, it's called Need for Speed. It starts on July 12th. Let me keep this. It starts on July 12th. It's a really cool program. It's 4 weeks long where we teach people how to improve their run form so they can run faster. And this is part of it, is identifying that critical point when you should use it. So let's just take a given run. I'm just going to go ahead, I think this isn't my good marker, but we're going to play with it anyways. Let's take any given run, and let's say this is your effort level, and E's for effort, and this is your time or distance. We'll put D for distance. Over time, like if we want to maintain the same pace, the dotted line is your pace. It doesn't matter what your pace is. It could be 7-minute miles, 8, 9, 10-minute miles. Your effort to sustain that pace over time does this. Usually it's like a hockey stick and goes up. So like there's a critical point when, like if you're out and you're running your first marathon, or you're running a marathon, you're running 8-minute miles, like 8-minute miles at mile 2 does not feel like 8-minute miles at mile 20. While the pace stays the same, the effort's different. So what this means is when you open your stride, you can use it for your pure speed. But this is what I talk a lot about when in Need for Speed, is you can use it for maintaining pace, because a lot of people fade off towards the tail end of a run or a tail end of a race. But what you want to identify is your critical point. And your critical point is when you're running and you're like, man, I'm running the same pace, but it's getting harder. And there's some cues that we go through in Need for Speed, but basically we teach this whole system of how do you identify this point? The easiest thing to think about is when you're out on a run, you're like, my pace is the same, but it's starting to feel difficult. This critical point when you start to feel your effort be more than it needs to for the pace you're running is when you can kick this in. So think about that for a second. Like you're gonna use the open the stride technique to not necessarily run faster in this point, but what we would expect to see is this effort line is to fade off a little bit. It'll take, while it's going to continue to be harder to sustain your pace, you're not going to generate more speed, but you're going to actually give yourself less effort to run the pace. So in essence, if you think about that in a backwards way, less effort to run a pace, you can flip that into you're running faster in some regards. The open the stride technique can be used for, like I said, pure speed or to save a race. I've seen this work. I use this in my own running a ton and the athletes I work with, but learning how to get to this critical point and how you handle it makes a huge difference. So if you struggle with finishing run strong, you struggle in the heat or the wind, or just struggle with your run form to finish races strong, you should be committed to learning how to open your stride. So I'm going to show you one other thing. I just want to cover the main thing here, and then I'm going to head out for my run. Real quick again, Need for Speed, July 12th, 4 weeks. I teach every single week of how to master this and how to get this so you can use it in your own running. Price is going up or the program's closing depending on when you watch this. So check out the link in this post. So if you want to open your stride, I'm going to do it again. Open your stride. Ois, ois, ois. There we go. What you need to do is you need to find your figure 4 position. Your figure 4 position, I've talked about it in many videos. Go back and look at some of the other ones I've talked about. Find your figure 4 and break away from shuffling and scuffing. I'm just going to write shuffle here. When you do this and you go from breaking away from shuffling to you find your figure 4, you run faster or you sustain pace when it gets difficult, and that's the thing about saving the race. This stuff works amazing. Last thing that you need to know as we continue to go through and continue to teach about this is that this stuff is not easy. Like I always talk about, like learning new run form is not easy. Like it takes time. That's why we teach this over 4 weeks, because if it was like do this and you're good, it's not sustainable. You're actually probably found out if you've done this, you've gone out for a road and you check out in the road or for a run and you drive your knees like, wow, I'm automatically running faster, but you can't sustain it. There's a lot of tricks that you have to do because you have to build the habit, you have to build the muscles, you have to have the flexibility to sustain it. But think about finding your figure 4, practice a little bit. If you want some help, I encourage you to check out Need for Speed before the price goes up. You can still sign up after this Friday, depending on when you watch this. It could be closing or the price going up, whatever. But if you're just jumping on, go back to the start of this video. We talked about how to use this to save a race that is falling apart because it makes a huge difference. And you want some help? Need for Speed, links in the post. I'll talk to you guys soon. I am getting out of here for a run, but leave me some comments if you have any questions and I'll take a look later. All right, everyone, have a great day. Hope this helped you. Bye-bye.